Is it going to tell me I'm recording?
I think you're already
Yeah,
recording.
so it's already
Oh,
recording.
Do you want to stop
well, that
recording?
was Blair's that was recording. This is me
Oh,
recording now.
Yeah, we'll
So
record.
It's
so
very
now
meta.
Record.
we're just starting in media res here. Welcome back to 22 panels. My guests tonight are Elliott Mondry, Alicia Madden, and Blair Shiff, the writer, artist, and um, editor of, and I had this book title in my head 30 seconds ago. You Never Know from Calamity Comics. It's the first comics venture for Elliot and Alicia. Claire, are you or Blair? Right? I
I'll
covered up your
accept
name.
either. You're fine.
No, I covered up your name when I pulled up the comic. um, are you have you edited other comics, or are you also new in this venture?
So I'm a copy editor by trade. So I've
Okay.
edited a gamut of all sorts of novels as well as comics. So run
Okay.
run the whole spectrum.
Okay. So, yeah, first I'm going to ask who wants to give the front. Oh, I should also say Psychocomicology set this whole thing up, and they showed up to slum with us. And if you're in well, I was gonna plug Modern Age in Algonquin, but then Dr. Ramos decided that he needed to flip me off. So
Who's
the
telling you that
next
you're
time
number
you're in
one?
Algonquin, oh, now they're number one sites. Now I can plug Modern Age Comics in Algonquin.
I
Where
love that.
where Elliot and Alicia will be. It's both Elliot and Alicia going, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
On the 28th, is that right?
yeah.
In the evening. I don't know if I'll make it over or not. I'll try. I
Blair will be
normally
there
have
in
a
spirit.
Wednesday night. I normally have a Wednesday night commitment, but we'll see. It's his first in-store guest, so I might need to cancel movie club or bail on movie club. It depends on what movie we're watching. Um, anyway, who wants to give the front counter pitch? Who wants to tell Lee and Edgar how to sell this comic to people across the counter at their
So
store?
I
And
guess I
Sam will
can.
be the one that actually succeeds because that's the way it always works in that family.
Honestly, a smile goes a long way. Just smile and be like, bat your eyes.
Yeah, no, it really look where I am. So
No, so the quick pitch is You Never Know deals with the concept of how you never know what other people are going through behind closed doors and how strong of a hold anxiety can have on people. The longer pitch is it follows this guy, Jason, who seems to be the poster boy for success and wellness. And on the surface, everything looks okay. But as we keep going, we learn that something's wrong. And then you learn about how strong of a hold anxiety can really have on somebody who seems to have it all.
Okay. I like this idea. I mean, I think all of the hosts here have dealt with anxiety either personally or professionally or both. So that's right up our alley. What inspired first? Because when I had your bio up a second ago, I started flipping through pages, and you know how it happens.
Fine.
So you're a Chicago-based lawyer. First of all, what part of law? Because no lawyer does everything.
No, we do criminal defense mostly, but criminal defense, personal injury, workers' comp, and traffic. So I always say everything
Okay.
from traffic tickets up to murder, everything in between. If you get in a car
Okay.
accident, or if you need, I also do intellectual property law as well.
Okay. Okay.
So
So
I
so
say the fun
you're
stuff.
you're closer to the everywhere than a lot of people. Um,
In private practice, you kind of have to be.
well, sometimes, I mean, we won't get into that. We don't need to critique lawyers.
That's another
I, I,
podcast.
I have a lot of them in my family and that many more among friends and whatnot. So like, I have people with all the lawyer opinions. And, Alicia, is this, what's your day job? Do I know your day job or,
No, the day job is just what I do for money.
oh, okay. There we go. I like that. Well, and that right there means that you're made for comics because you understand that you don't do comics for money.
Absolutely.
Y-
What I do every day kind of just feeds my landlord and my
Yeah.
DC addiction. That's
Okay.
about it.
Okay. We'll do the quick question. What are your favorite DC books right now?
Right now, I'm just going through like different DC Universe Rebirth series.
Okay. So you're going backwards a little bit.
Yeah, because like
No, no. Rebirth was great.
it was great. And yeah, that's just the main one for me. I'm in love with like all of the Robins, so that's where I'm at.
All of the Robins.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I
I
was
mean,
going to make a joke with that, but I should probably watch what I say.
your wife is here.
I was gonna say there was a lawyer present
I
for
mean,
sure.
she's the one
That
who
too.
showed me the jokes, I mean, so
I can take
All
it.
of the Robins. Well, he meant more that like you would be a bad witness in court. I mean, a good witness for Sam, but a bad witness for him if he went across any lines.
It'll be
That's why he didn't say
fine.
anything. Okay, so why comics?
I mean, I can speak to why I made this as a comic
Mhm.
because to me, the
That's where we start.
visual, the visual aspect of it is just something that really resonates with me. I am the worst reader when it comes to a novel. If you put a novel in front of me, I will read maybe 3 sentences and just completely zone out. I just
Hmm.
struggle picturing it and feeling from just a regular novel. But when I read a comic book or something with visuals, I can really relate to it. I can absorb more like a movie, and it's
Okay.
easy for me to process. That's just my learning style. And
Okay. I just need to warn you right now. More like a movie is almost it's not quite, but close to one of my trigger sentences because comics are so much better than movies.
agreed. But it's like watching a movie versus the audiobook. Of like, let's say you're watching Harry Potter. I,
I'll
I
totally take the audiobook over the movie most of the time.
I'll take the audiobook over the regular book. But
That's also true.
to me, it's just the visual aspect of comics is so powerful
Yeah.
that it lends itself to this type of story that I wouldn't be able to tell in a prose novel. So when I had the idea for the story, I wrote the first issue, and to me, it just made sense the visuals when I was writing things out in panels that it had to
Yeah.
be in a comic book setting.
Okay. And how many issues are we looking at right now?
Right now, 9 for
Okay.
the first series, and then we're working on another series, which will be an undisclosed amount of issues at this time.
Okay. This is where it's great that you're a lawyer because you can keep the lights on. Um,
Elliot, if I can ask you a question, were you a
yeah.
comic book reader when you were a kid? Like, were you
Oh,
or did
she's
you?
getting into dissertation
Oh,
questions. I
sorry.
thought you were done. No, go ahead.
I
These
can't
are the,
help it. It
these
just
are the
so.
fun dissertation questions.
Oh, I had a blast. Let me tell you. Like I had the best time. Um, but did you grow up reading comic books, or was it something that you started doing a little bit, later in life, or just was it something that you always had, or was it something that you realized was a tool that was there for you?
Both. So when I was really young, my uncle took me to San Diego Comic-Con, so I got exposed to comics early on.
Which
But it
year?
wasn't until I was older that I appreciated the comic medium as a whole, and
Okay.
that I was able to really resonate with the stories I was reading. Because I always thought it was just Batman, Superman. But when I got really into the indie comics and these really grounded stories based in reality, that's when I really started to look more into comic books and really, dive deep into what other stories are out there.
Just out of curiosity, what year did you go to San Diego?
I couldn't tell, I want to say maybe 2004,
Okay.
like around there.
That was after I got to go. I
That's
went in
fair.
98.
I was 2 years old in '98, so do with that what you
Okay.
will.
Yeah, no, that probably. No, no. Uh,
The
yeah.
shockwave that just sent.
It's fine.
No,
I'm
I
breathing through
knew
it.
he was younger than me, but I was 18 in 98. So, he could have been like a 6-year-old in 98. He went after it became like Movie Fest, though. There was still comic stuff, but like I went to one of the last years where it was like I I mean the way I always tell people, I was in Southern California and heard about it on the radio, and we
Mm.
decided to drive down on Saturday morning and we bought our tickets there. By
Then you could get the tickets for the
2004,
next
that
year.
was not an option.
But you can still get the tickets for the next year.
Maybe.
So Elliot, I gotta ask you a question about the books. Obviously, I read it, and I won't even begin to go into the clinical yet. Yet, I'm gonna give you time to kind of formulate, but some straightforward questions that I kind of had through my mind was one, so why a comic format and not like a graphic memoir or graphic novel? Like what was going
He
on
he he
through
just
your
hit
mind?
one of my first questions.
Yeah, and either of you guys can answer that. It's just how did that come to a conclusion? Yeah, let's go with that first.
So so I can clarify, so I know the right way to go about answering. When you say graphic memoir, do you mean like a full completed series or like a full story as opposed to
No,
issue?
I mean to me, the question would be why do this episodically like a comic rather than doing the graphic novel, doing it as a story at once, however many pages, not having to worry about those 22-page.
Correct. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
Graphic novel can be complete or it can be like two trades, for example. And
right.
the reason why I ask is just to kind of build you a little bit more here is the idea of like right now you see a lot of comic books being written almost for trades, like Batman, absolute
Oh
Batman
yeah.
hot book. And I mean, you can see it being written for trade. Like, your first 6 issues, it goes into a trade. Next 6 issues goes into another trade. So that's kind of like the hot thing going on, or business wise, or whatever. So what was going through your guys' mind and yeah, if you can talk a little bit about that.
So originally it was just the full graphic novel. And I think Blair, when we were working on it, we said it's just gonna be the full 9 issues of one giant uh graphic novel. But then originally the story you never know is going to be around four different characters and the different things that they were going through from different perspectives, but you wouldn't know and what was happening when you were reading one person's storyline. And that was going to be interconnecting all within one story. And then I was walking around one day and thought to myself, I don't have the emotional bandwidth to write that. Um, so I decided to scrap the altogether storyline and just focus on one at a time. And it seemed that writing it as issues, we were going to do a full one, 9 chapter graphic novel. Like I think even in the script, it's written as chapters as opposed to issues. But then we realized one, by doing it as issues, we can improve as we go. We're not just kind of stuck in issue, like, no, this is what it is. It's not going to change. We can still make changes as we go. Two, it doesn't take as much time to release issue by issue whereas I write the script. If it was a full trade or full graphic novel, it would have taken probably 4 or 5 years to see the light of day. Whereas this way we can get issues out a little quicker. And then it helps us as a team learn how we can work together better over the series, as opposed to just being, we're doing this one thing, here you go, and if it's bad, it's shit because we didn't get a chance to edit and hone our skills along the way.
That makes sense. So it was more of a what's the word I'm looking for? More of a developmental decision than a strictly storytelling decision.
Yes, and also a financial one.
Well, obviously.
Obviously. That's the underlying thing that we don't really have to mention, but we all know it's finances at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, that's another interesting question. I assume that you're either, I mean, since you're co-founders of the press, I assume that you're essentially going the self-published route of the late 80s, early 90s, your Terry Moore's, your Jeff Smith's, et cetera, that went rather than getting somebody to buy this, I'm just going to make it myself.
Yes.
Um, did you consider crowdfunding? I mean,
We
that's
did
an
do
option
Kickstarter.
that didn't exist then, that is often more popular now to make it just a little bit more breathable. Um,
We
yeah.
did do Kickstarter for the first issue.
Oh, okay. I just
So
missed the Kickstarter then.
yeah, it ended. I think we ran it from, was it Alicia? Was it all of November we ran it, or was it
Um,
October?
we dropped it November the 5th, and we are 434% funded.
Oh, wow.
Excellent.
Well done.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we did well on Kickstarter. But
That's what I like to hear. And I wish that you told me at the beginning of the Kickstarter, because like I love to plug the hell out of Kickstarters.
yep,
There
we have
will
some
be
years
8
ago,
more.
Yeah, there
at
should be. Yeah.
least.
What is the distribution plan beyond the Kickstarter then?
Right now, obviously a lot of word of mouth, local stores, and just we go to a lot of cons throughout the year. Like I go to Seattle, I try to go to Seattle every year, New York, San
Right.
Diego, C3G. So hitting up a lot of the big cons and just
So table sales and direct sale to comic shop.
exactly.
No distribution partner. That that makes sense. Um, let's talk about the book, because I overly scared you beforehand, and that wasn't on
Not
accident.
even slightly.
Well, okay. I mean, the way I played it was I'm going to start with a couple of things that I loved. Alicia, I don't think I have seen a silent um, restaurant scene where I could hear the noise as much as I did on this first page.
Yay!
That's it's actually it's a difficult thing to pull off without some sort of
Onomatopoeia.
or lettering or whatever, just something to indicate noise, which one of the beauties of comics is that you can do that. That's an option. But this gave me the feel of a semi-crowded restaurant with stuff going on. You could tell conversations were going on, and you could tell that it didn't matter that we heard what they were saying right off the bat. So that was cool. I also like a lot of your panel layouts.
Yay, thanks.
I'm a nut for a good page layout.
That means a
Um,
lot coming from you as somebody who does care about formatting and layouts and stuff, because I never knew if I was doing it the right way.
well, and this
Or,
is
yeah.
one of the questions I ask any new comic artist, particularly one that like your bio says you were self-taught. Um, have you have you read any of the classic How to Make Comics Works? Have you read Scott McCloud? Have you read Will Eisner? Have you read
I read
um
those after I started making the comic. I was like, oh,
okay.
please tell me that I did something right.
You did many things right, but if you read them after you started reading the comic, I'm very much looking forward to the next one. This is where I'll
Mhm.
also ask Elliott, did you read Brian Bendis? Did you read Scott McCloud?
Again,
Not Brian
I
Bendis
read.
comics, but Brian Bendis's making comics, his writing comics book.
Funny enough,
Um,
no.
okay.
I read it afterwards.
Okay.
Um,
And also for both of you, I'd recommend Matt Madden and Jessica Abel's drawing words and writing pictures, which is actually like the textbook to the class that they teach.
Hmm.
Um,
well, the funniest thing about, I guess, this issue specifically was this is the very first issue that I wrote, period. I didn't actually have much of a plan when I wrote it. I just scripted without really knowing how to script. So subsequent issues will look very different in terms of structure. This was literally, here you go.
well, and the first thing I told Edgar today, and I'm like, how do I put this? This was half a comic.
Yeah.
It was a good half a comic, but it was half a comic. most of the information that we get from this could have been like 10 pages. And the 10 pages that are missing is setting up even the lead character before we discover his anxiety. So you talked about the guy that's got it together and everybody. I didn't know him at all until I met his anxiety. That's the part that's missing right now. And and because it's a multi-issue series, I don't know if you plan on go. I assume that there will be more going into that going forward, and that sort of
Blair.
thing. But like, I mean, just from my standpoint, like the other thing is the only moment that I realized that he was dating the girl is when he kissed her. It wasn't established.
I think that's a really interesting point that you bring up, Tad, because like being a clinician, it for me it resonated very differently because when people come into the office, I meet their stuff.
Anxiety,
I meet
right?
So it's like me like reading this from our side, it was like, okay, like I see this. I haven't met this person yet. It's like I don't know their stuff yet, but I see like what they're carrying. So like I understanding it like from a reader's point of view and then like a clinician's point of view, where it's like I I want I want to know more about this person because I want to know
Right.
like what is making you tick because
Mhm.
I can see what it's doing to you. So I think from at least my standpoint, it was like I want to know more. One, because I'm nosy, and two, like because I want to know this person.
Right.
If I,
All of this is to say, for me at least, and it sounds like Sam, I'm definitely reading issue 2. I just kind of wish that more of it was already in issue 1, and I say that with love. I told Edgar I was going to use my old writer's workshop line. I always used to tell people like, if I tell you great story and nothing else, that means I hated it. If I rip it to shreds, that means that I loved it and I want it to be better.
Yeah, my biggest fear
With
is that someone
comics,
said
it's
it's
hard to
great.
do rough drafts because as Alicia can tell us, you probably wrote this whole thing in a week and then she took like, okay, you know what I mean. You're a rookie and you're a lawyer. Elliott's shaking his head at me. But Alicia then has to pour her blood, sweat, and tears over each page, and each page takes her.
I'm still trying to figure out the number because I really didn't know how long this was going to take. I'm so glad that it was like we published it in like a year after starting it.
Right.
So I'm going to try to keep it less than
I
that.
I mean, like the fastest professional comic book artists I know, the ones that don't have another job,
Oh.
spend at least 8 hours at the drawing board every day,
If only it was that simple.
Oh,
do
I should try that.
no, what I'm saying is they do like a page a day of
hmm
pencils.
Oh, okay.
So, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you guys are comics people, so you probably know Jacob Phillips. If you don't know Jacob Phillips, you probably know his dad, Sean Phillips. But Jacob Phillips drives just mind boggles me because he's the one guy in comics right now that seems to be able to do about a book and a half a month and color his dad's stuff. And it's like, dude, where do you find the time? Like, because I know that you actually do stuff in your life.
He's
Um,
British. That's how he does it.
well, yeah, no, that's part of it. Part of it is, I mean, he just had to move out, and I felt so sad when I heard this because his studio was actually a container because he's from Manchester, and there's like a whole container yard that he was explaining because when we talked to him, he was in his studio, a container in a container yard in Manchester. He was telling us about the yard. There was like a barber shop and a container, 2 containers down from him, and there was a coffee shop across the way in a container. It was like this abandoned container yard that had been turned into art studio space and small businesses.
Wow.
That's what we have to do, Alicia. That's where
And
we're
he
going
pretty much
wrong.
lived there at the time.
The problem is you're not living in a box, and that's your flaw.
We're working and not living in boxes.
What
If
an
we,
idiot.
Right. Right. Well, no,
Rookie
it's not a
mistake.
flaw. It just means it's going to take that much longer. And that's not a bad thing, you know. I mean, that it's one of the reasons why uh, like the monthly comic crowd doesn't we're still trying to teach the monthly comic crowd about the crowdfunding comics and that there's a different like that monthly comics are either people who are insane,
we are.
live very cheaply some well, yes, all comics people are insane. I get that. Um
But we have receipts.
live very cheaply somewhere or you know manage to get that semi-regular paycheck that they can somewhat live on. Um and everybody else is just not realistic to put out a comic a month. It takes way too much time and energy. Um,
If I
I
could jump
mean,
in, Ted, so because I've been marinating this thought in my head, I want to make sure I don't forget because my ADHD is
no, absolutely. We'll be all over the place. That's the other reason that like you shouldn't worry about us. We're so discombobulated that hi
Oh,
mom, hi Adam. They won't pay attention to where we yeah.
yeah. So you guys were talking about the art, and I know Sam was talking about the writing art as well. And it's funny because Ted, you started up with the art, like you heard the noise and the silent.
Hmm.
And it's funny because the first thing I told everybody, and uh, don't get mad at me, Ellie, not yet. The fucking art was
Top notch.
captivating.
Yeah.
Like it captivated me. I sat there like, okay, I'm like, and everyone knows I'm pretty straightforward. I'm like, all right, I don't know this person. You know, I'm very kind of bougie and picky who I read and what I'm willing to read and whatnot. And I'm like, all right, but the picture, and it was actually the snippet that you sent me, Elliot, was the picture of the individual, like the back or whatnot. And the reason for that is it's funny because I give a snippet of a picture similar to that when we talk about trauma with hands crawling all around their back and saying that's how it feels. So it fucking caught my attention, like, okay, let me see. And then the restaurant scene, I'm like, I heard dishes cracking. I don't know if you had dishes cracking, but there was dishes. Somebody threw a fucking dish in that cover. You know, somebody threw a dish down and it broke. And I was listening to it and I'm like, okay. But now going into the actual like contextually the words or and what was being said. So I tend to kind of shy away when people write about mental health that aren't mental health trained because they tend to kind of, you know, for lack of a better word, bastardize it or kind of like, well, how did you feel about that? Or, you know, I mean, we know comics are notorious for, you know, downplaying, you know, doctors. It's like every doctor is a villain in comics, you know, from the days of Wortham or whatnot. So there's always this kind of negative connotation. So I was
Well,
like,
I think it's because of Wortham.
yeah, I mean, obviously. So well, as I was reading it, I'm like, all right, but I got to talk to you beforehand, so I'm like, all right, it sounds pretty rational. So let's go with it. So I took a read of it, and first off, is for any clinicians and anyone out there, and just clinically, it's not about teaching about mental health. It's about sharing mental health, and that's what I found, you know, excellent. Is that I sat there going, you know, FOMO, you know, right off the bat, like, but that initial scene when it's like you weren't saying nothing, and Sam was like, "What makes you tick?" It's funny because the thought that came to my head was, "What makes you ick?" Because I felt your anxiety, and I don't know, and I'm gonna
that
give you
that
guys, I'm gonna blow your guys' heads up for 2 seconds, then I'm gonna destroy it. But first off, is to say, it's like, I don't know if the artist and the writer, you guys work so well together that you were able to let me feel that anxiety. I don't know if it was drawn to make me anxious or the way it was worded at first without saying it necessarily to make me anxious, but I felt you being in your head. And I'm not saying that you're the person in the book, and if you want to say that, that's great, but I felt you being in your head, and I'm like, this guy must live in his fucking head all day thinking and thinking, can't fucking turn it off. And then I'm like, fuck, I'm doing it now. Holy shit. I'm like, I'm by myself. That's what I thought was fucking great. I'm like, yeah, I kind of like it. I will say, I'm like, fuck it stopped. I'm like, so there's a part where it makes me want to grab issue two, but it's also kind of like, fuck, I wanted to have it a little bit fuller, but that's a good thing because it's like you make me want more of it. So I mean, at the end of the day, that's a good product to sell. So I thought that was really great. But clinically right now is that I absolutely love that you didn't try to teach people how to treat anxiety. And this is what anxiety is that you just sat there and go, this is a person that's anxious. This is anxiety for me without ever having to first say, I'm anxious. It's you portrayed anxiety and you drew anxiety was drawn. And I thought that was a
Yep.
great combination. And that's what I'm going to, I mean, I'm looking at the picture right now in the shower, like,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I was just like,
Well, but I brought this up for a reason, just because the one thing we've all agreed on is we wish that we'd had just a little bit more in this issue. And if I'm putting on my amateur but talks to Shelley Bond a lot editor cap, um, this was the last page of your issue,
Mm.
except that it wasn't. We had 4 more pages. If those 4 pages had been earlier, you could have fleshed. I mean, the girl that got on a motorcycle, I mean, that's one of the most badass images in the whole comic, except that it took me until like flipping through now to finally figure out that it was the girl that got on the motorcycle, because we see her in a leather jacket, but we don't see the helmet, and then she's got the helmet on when she's in the motorcycle, and we don't know that much about her except that she's got blue highlights and wears a leather jacket. You know, so I mean,
I want to
like,
meet her. Like, I want to meet her.
no, I do, and that's the issue. We didn't. So I'm really, I mean, I'm hoping that we meet some of these people a little bit more in issue 2. B, since you said you were all about getting some constructive criticism, and I hope you're taking this constructively, I think I would have caught those 4 pages and maybe one of these 3. You know, I don't know that you need 3 pages of the empty apartment, the walking to the shower, the getting into the shower. I feel like that could have been 2. And then you have 5 pages that you can put into the bar to flesh out the characters.
I mean, I kind of like the abs. I mean, the abs are pretty good. I mean,
I'm not.
I was like, when do I get to be a
you
female
don't-
and be like, nope,
it
the
was very
dude in the
Robin.
abs is good.
Well,
Robin
but
did.
I didn't say you had to get rid of that page. You can
The
get
abs
rid
are
of the page
shame.
that's just the empty.
Can
I mean, this is a very pretty page, the
Wait,
one
wait,
that's
wait,
just
wait,
the
wait.
empty apartment.
No.
But
No. Let me say right here, 'cause
absolutely,
it's probably one of my favorite pages when he walks
it is.
and it's beautiful. Like the pillows are perfect and the couch is white because I have kids and my couch is not white anymore. And I'm like, wow, that looks amazing. But like I feel
that's an anxious room. That
Yeah,
is
that's-
something
Yes.
so it's so fucking wrapped up tightly. But that's what matched with the abs. I'm like, this motherfucker is wound so fucking tight. He thinks of everything. Like his fucking room is immaculate. I'm like, fuck, American Psycho, here we come. Like it's wrapped up so tight. I'm like, dude, this guy is in his head, man.
Yeah.
But again, I'm thinking like a fucking clinician. So that's where I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm like, all right, well,
Well,
fucking
that-
make
that-
it. Let's
that-
loosen them up
that-
a little bit. No, just
Then the answer is take these 2 4-panel pages and make them a 6-panel page.
Yeah, because
Interesting.
for me, like I got to speak on this too. This whole that 3-page suite that you talked about, Tad, is that symbolized to me that he's alone. So he went from having his relationships which was a big source of anxiety, which was the FOMO aspect of it. And now is what was interesting for me is like, oh, him and his girlfriend, but they don't live together. Okay. But now he's alone. So now we see him physically alone. And even if I put on my clinical hat for a moment, he's vulnerable because now he's naked.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when most of his anxiety comes out. So for
Right.
me, that was it's like, okay, this guy, very much so. And that's for sure, that page right there.
Yeah.
That's what I felt.
Oh, this page. The,
So well put
the
together.
2 pages in the shower. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Both the writing, the art, like those 2 pages in the shower make this comic.
Yes.
Can I like walk you through this, like what's special about this
Please.
page a little
You've
bit?
been dying to talk
Absolutely
about
not.
this page.
Please.
Yeah, so let me tell you that this has got to be the best writing in this issue because, and here's how I know that. Back when we were nothing to each other and we were just talking, he
Yeah, I forgot to
suggested,
ask when you're done with this, you got to tell me how you paired up.
okie doke. Um, well, he asked me to audition. He's like, here's the first issue, here's the script, and just pick out a page that speaks to you and draw it, please. And so I'm reading it, and this is the page I chose of them all because I'm like, this is going to be powerful. And we call this the audition piece. So this is essentially the image I drew. The quality is a lot better now because I had a lot more practice.
Well, and because if he made you go this far for an audition piece, that would have been just mean.
If it helps, I
Essentially,
paid her
the
for the
the
audition piece.
It
So
was not
Okay,
far
okay,
from
that
this.
makes it
Like,
less mean.
seriously, Alicia.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good thing to throw out is that you paid her for the audition piece. That changes everything. I'm used to the comics world where you don't get paid for anything.
oh no, no one
Yeah.
does anything for free. No, that's not
Okay.
how we work here.
That's what I love to hear.
Yeah, but I have to say that this is the page like I'm most proud of, and I'm happy that
Well,
we stopped on it because shoot, I mean these last two panels were
t
exactly what I turned into him.
talk me through some of the decisions here because this is one of the pages that I'm really talking about in terms of some brilliant panel design. I don't think enough people have the courage to split panels without splitting or without having new pictures. So you've got two panels at the top that are one picture.
Yeah.
And then your middle panel is not only borderless, but it overlaps the second of those panels. And then the one thing that is almost a border isn't actually really a border at all. It's just a line. And another borderless panel, and then an inset panel where you can just feel the energy wash out of him. So, like, how
The
much of this was I always love talking to artists because half the time, like I stepped through all of it, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, no," and the other half the time, they're like, "Yes, this is exactly what I." So, how much of this was you going instinctually, and how much of this was like very carefully planned out?
I really wanted to work with Elliott on this, so every single move I made, I thought of 100 times over. I'm like, okay, he's gonna like this, so I'm gonna
Okay,
do this. Um, as with a lot of the different poses in the comic, we ended up, whether like he knew it or not, like when I would ask him for like a suggestion or something, we would always kind of act out what the characters would do. Like the
okay,
left hand in panel number two is Elliott's hand. Like he sent me a picture of that. So we have like our authentic like motions in here and
okay,
two, three, four. And I believe like I was either doing four or five, just like the motion of comforting oneself kind of thing. And
okay.
if you're falling apart. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
I followed his script very literally. So in panel number one, numbers one and two, he does describe the face in panel number one, and then he does describe the hand in number two. So I'm like, they are each the subject of their own panel, but I don't want to just completely disjoint a face from a hand. So that the math was mathing and it kind of turned into one picture.
Right.
What's interesting is there hasn't really been a time when we've gone from script to page where it doesn't look like what it looked like in my head when I wrote it. So she's
Okay.
able to really capture whatever I wrote down in the script and what I was seeing and put that onto the page.
Because I could see it too.
And
Like,
I will give you credit too about like how you would script it. Like even when we were talking about like the editing of the words themselves, like you were really good at saying like, well, this is how I want it to be, and then we would try to match the words, and sometimes we would actually move the words. And speaking to the silent panels sometimes, like sometimes we needed to give silence
Right.
to add poignancy to the moment, and
There
sometimes
was
we would legit move sentences like down a page, so that way we would just give space.
Blair was really good at making me realize, Elliot, it's a visual medium first. You don't need to dummy it down. You don't need to spoon feed them. Let the artwork speak for itself.
Yeah, all the time he would be like grasping, like, I can't, I'm so mad. I just want to squeeze my head. I was like, you don't have to say that. You can actually just squeeze your head with the pictures. And he's like, right, right, right. Sorry, strike that.
Okay. The comics that were like those were the EC comics, and they're great comics, but they were saving money rather than typing up the scripts. They just wrote them on the Bristol board, and then the artists had to work around that. So it was a money saving thing, not a specific style choice.
I also have to give a little bit of credit to our letterer, Justin, who
That was what I was about to. Who did the lettering and yeah.
his name's Justin. He goes by Letter Squids,
Okay.
and
I think I've
again,
seen stuff
we
from him before.
we auditioned about five different letters, and it came down to two people, and that page that you just showed was actually the tiebreaker page,
Yeah.
and it just everything that he did just really spoke to how we felt the story should be, and really brought like if you were to go to I think page 4 or 5, some of the choices he made just really stuck out to us. And actually, the story is based on, my friend group. I actually ran um, the first 5 pages by my friend who's based on the blonde guy, Chris, said, "Hey, what do you think?" And he goes, "That's how I would have said that." And that's how when I read the comic, that's how that conversation goes. This is the guy.
Okay. So I'll see. This is where I feel like horrible because if Chris feels like that's how he would have said that, then I shouldn't. I love the Jason and the hit list here. I have issues with the font decisions on cockface and bitch. They just don't quite work for me. But if the actual people saying them thought so,
Can I just like gush in a comic book nerd kind of way about this exact topic? Like Tad, you well, and Dr. Ramos were saying that like you can hear this scene. Well, like when it comes to the lettering, I can hear differently than I did the first time when I read it in just one font, and that was all Justin.
no, and I agree that it needs different fonts.
No, you could read that. You could hear that font. Like it's not cockface. It's cockface. It's
yeah. See,
Right.
that's my problem. Is
there's a swag to it.
I can't quite hear. I can hear the hit list. I can hear the Jason. I don't quite know how to hear the
Hear the what?
there.
It's like a term of endearment. That's the way I read that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's written in that font. It's
Yeah.
an elegant font.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
was
but
cockface.
yeah, I don't know. They can hear it. So this is the other thing I always say is that like the reason I don't say anything ever is bad is because it doesn't resonate with me doesn't mean it doesn't resonate with somebody else. And even as they're saying it out loud, I can get what they're going for here or what they're hearing, and I still would have lettered it just a little bit differently to get that. But I'm not a letterer, and like if 2 words are my problems with the red letter in the whole book, that's like
I'll take it.
yeah.
Amen. That's a win. I'm also a monster and on the East Coast, so I probably need to go in the next like 10 minutes. So if you have any
Ah,
editing questions, I would love to
well,
be selfish and
Everything
ask
go to
you to
Blair for the
ask
next 10
me.
minutes.
what?
Everything go to Blair for the next 10 minutes.
I was
Well,
like, no, not to be selfish. I just wanted to
yeah,
make sure
no,
if you
no,
had anything for me, I
no,
wanted you to be
no.
able to ask it.
Uh, I'll ask you in general. How did you become involved in the book? Is the first question.
Yes. So first question is by happenstance, honestly. So Elliot is friends with a person that I also copy edited her novel, and she had seemingly a good experience with me. And so she recommended me when he was talking about how he was writing something. And it was actually back when he was writing a children's book specifically to start.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh, you should ask Blair." And so we met up and we had a great vibe on our first call where he knew that I would be very honest with him. And I'm one of those very honest people. I'm very Northeastern by my vibe. And I wanted to make sure I could just throw it out there and make sure that I could just be honest with him and he wouldn't take it really
You just call the rest
sensitively.
of us
And
liars? Our
yes,
non-Easterners, you just call us liars?
I heard.
No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. So,
Um,
Sorry, that's the
what
anxiety. Sorry.
all good.
you said that you edit prose as well as comics.
Yes.
I mean, first about what is the balance between the two?
Ooh, so it's actually kind of speaking to what I said earlier, is that, when you have only words on a page, then you really have to describe every freaking thing,
No,
right?
I
It's
meant
like,
in terms of your work.
oh, for like how I
Yes.
work with people who
Eh,
are writing. Yeah.
no. In terms of your experience, like if we were giving percentages, do you do 50% prose and 50% comics? Do you do 80% poetry and 10% instructional manuals and 10% comics? I
Oh,
mean,
99% instructional manuals. No, I wish it was that
there are
balance.
lots of copy editors.
Well, dang, hook me up. That seems really great. I could put a comma anywhere. No,
You,
that's not what I do. No, it really is quite variant, and it's mostly because, like what Elliot was saying, it's mostly word of mouth, right? So
okay.
it's people recommending me, and the fact that I know my stuff and I can be malleable depending on the platform. I mean, like I would say probably right now it's probably 25% comics.
Okay.
It's probably a good percentage, just relevant to
Okay.
your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what to you, and you were starting to get into it, is the difference and or challenge of editing a comic book versus prose. And just because I've talked to enough editors that I know that comics editor, depending on the team, can encompass a billion different things. You know, it can be cheerleader and spell checker. It can be keep everybody on task and on time. It can be make certain everybody gets paid. It can be find the artist, find the letterer, find the fill-in artist, etc. So in general, and maybe there isn't a general, what is editing a comic for you, and what do you like most about it?
Okay, so first thing you learn in journalism is not ask multiple questions at once, but I'll try my
I
best. All
know.
right, so first
That's why I
thing,
gave up on journalism after high school.
well, I think you're thriving. So you got this podcast, you're fine. So I would say working backward. I mean, what I like about comics specifically is actually the added medium. I mean, I think the hardest part about editing words only specific is that you have to paint such a picture with your words. And that can be a blessing and a curse because whenever you describe Sam, who's a generic character, right? Like we can all picture what Sam looks
Sam
like, and
is
maybe
not
they'll
a generic character. She's a doctor soon.
Yeah.
excuse me. I was thinking Samwise Gamgee, but that's fine. You can
That's
name whichever Sam you want.
It's okay. My daughter would probably agree with you.
I mean, it's an amazing Sam. I'm sure you're just as great, and you would totally make sure the ring is destroyed. My point is that if you're describing random character in just words, like everyone, you can describe the hair, you describe the stature, like you can use all the words you can, but everyone still fills in the blanks, right? Like they still figure out what the cheekbones look like because you don't describe that junk. Like, and what I think is really cool about graphic novels is that it at least gives you a structure to start with and then everyone can kind of go from there. And so I think that's like a really added benefit, honestly, because you get to actually just focus on the story and the dialogue. And the hard part of words only is that you have to do a lot of fluff to like world build and make people actually picture things, right? And like I said, blessing and a curse. Everyone operates differently. Like Elliot was saying earlier, like some people love that world because they get to actually invent that. And some people go, oh my gosh, like just invent it for me and I'll live in it, like, and that's okay. Both things are right. So I think that's what's really cool about that. What I liked about this specific project is that, like I said earlier, is that I think it's really just really good to collab with. And you talked about like the different aspects of editing, and that can be challenging because one of the things that's really cool about editing is that you like to control things, right? Like you like to be like, oh yeah, that's how that should go. And then when a letterer comes in, or a person who's drawing comes in, or like someone who's designing something, or the way they do page design, that's 100% out of your control. So a lot of it is like letting go and realizing you're this cool cog that's part of a larger project. And what you were saying also is that like second volume is so neat to be able to like learn everything from the first collaborative and look at it and like go, oh yeah, that worked, that didn't. When we do this again for whatever story we tell next, I don't know, Elliot, if we're actually disclosing that. Are we disclosing that?
We can if people really want to know,
I don't want
but
to like break news.
no.
Well,
But whatever.
I just pulled up your website. You're a journalist. Of course you want to break news.
Well, no,
It's not
but
really like unknown. Like we talk about it a little bit. You can talk about it if you want.
well, my point is, whatever story we want to tell next, like we get to learn from the first story we told. And that's what I appreciate you giving feedback on, is because then we get to bring that into the next issue that we issue. Like, I think that's really neat that we get to look at it and go, oh, we could tell that story. And then it's also really cool when you say, oh, you should have told that. And both Elliot just, he and I look at each other, we're like, that would
Mhm.
be really neat if
That
we
would be
did
neat.
that. And
Hmm.
we may or may not have already done that. Like I think that's cool that we get to like collaboratively learn on that. So the neat part of like being a copy editor in this specific genre is that we get to iterate and we get to learn, and we get to learn each other too about how each other work. And I just really want to give a lot of credit to this team because we were open to criticism, and sometimes we didn't like it, on all directions, and we would just listen to each other. And that doesn't happen all the time.
If it's fair,
Yeah.
the first draft of the series was just 4 issues. Blair read it and she says, I have the email somewhere, and she said, "This is shit, but we can make it better." And
I was like, I
let's
believe like
go.
my exact
Did you
quote was, "This
also
is
then
shit."
double your rate?
No, I should have. Legit told Ellie, I was like, "This is shit. I super hate it, but I can't wait to make it better." I believe was my exact quote.
But
I,
that was
I
also
like
for
the
me.
hope.
What happened?
I said I like the like glimmer of hope she gave you.
It
I
wasn't.
really did because I did see the potential. I mean, like, I think everyone in America has dealt with some semblance of mental health issues, like whether it's tangentially or by themselves, right? Like, and I think that's why it's so important to tell stories like this, especially in this genre, because it's not done enough. And it's not
Medium.
done, like you said
This
earlier, like in
medium.
a real way.
And collaboratively, it helped that this I always say that when I finish writing, my job's done. Now it's just how can we make this better? How can we make it the best version of itself? And a lot of people want a yes man. I don't want a yes man. I want someone to tell me this is garbage. Let's make it good. Because then that's how I improve, and then how we all improve as a team. Like Alicia will tell you how many times that I've gotten art back from her. I'm like, no, this has to be better, and here's why.
Yeah, it's true.
And Elise is so kind. And like
Ye-
I really appreciate her
Okay.
ability to take feedback, because
You,
especially
Yes.
as an
Yes.
artist, right?
yeah,
Please tell
you
me that's
guys,
at the rough stage.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. You guys have like helped me be brave and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I've said no, and you guys have said no to me, and it's fine.
Yeah, you have
Uh,
not been in the writing room with Blair yet. Trust me, that's where the fun really happens. But also, like Blair and I work really well together because whenever we have one-on-one meetings, the first 30 minutes is us just bullshitting with each other and having a good time.
Absolutely. But I think that that's how you get to know someone. And you talked about that earlier, right? Is like, how do you actually collaborate? And the key is to like get to know your client, or whatever phrase you want to use. Like, you can't work to the best of your ability if you don't know what that person wants and needs and wants to get out of this. Like you don't know their motivations, you don't want to know where they want to go, what do they want to accomplish, and like it's all moot, right? Like the whole point is to actually make sure they realize their vision. And I also think that's the struggle of being a copy editor is that like I can't write it for you. Like that is not my job. Like my job is to elevate your work and your mission and your goal. And that is hard as a person who's not bad at writing to not just go, no, 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 no. You should just write it like this. But then it's my words. And that's not the point. Then I should just write the dang thing. And then I'm ghost writing and that's not the point. Like it's just that's not why I'm here. And that's what I like about Elliot is that we can really collaborate. And like I said, like elevate his words and make it better.
Very well said.
All right. I have 3 more questions for Claire before we lose her.
Okay.
The first is like I went through with Elliot and Alicia a little bit on whether they'd read some of the seminal books on making comics. Have you picked up what is among the young comic people I know, the most popular book right now, Shelley Baum's Filth and Grammar, the comic book editor's secret handbook, to see how they did it at Vertigo back in the day.
Is that your question? Or you just stated?
Yes, that's the question.
Okay.
Have you
Fuck, I
picked it up
missed
and
the
read
question
it?
too. I'm like, what the fuck was the
I said, have you
question?
picked up? Have you picked up?
Did anyone, was that just me? Okay.
Was it you? I was like, wait,
No,
what?
I messed it up. Clearly, that's cool.
You're fine. You're doing great.
No, I'm not, but that's okay. My listeners are used to it.
Well, it's one of those Zoom moments too, right? It's like I don't want to jump on you. Like,
Yeah.
are you still asking a question?
No.
I don't know.
I had to she's done a trilogy, and I was debating whether I was saying all of the books or just talking about the first one, which was the heaviest on the editing, which is Filth and Grammar.
All right. So have I picked it up? No. Have I seen her Instagram and summaries? Yes.
Okay.
Are most of the things she says things I mostly knew? Yes. Does that make her not cool? No. Like, like I mean, I think about this with like Marie Kondo all the time. Like, I have been a minimalist my whole life. Like, all of a sudden she's like,
Right.
does this spark joy? And I was like, did people not ask that about every item in their house? I guess not. Weird. Like, I guess I could have made gazillions of dollars if I had just written that in a book. That's me with her summary.
Trust me, Shelley's not making gazillions of dollars.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, no, that's fair. My follow-up, because I noticed it at you have an Anais Nin quote on your website. Have you read my friend Leone's
Yes, of
fantastic
course.
graphic novel about Anais
Absolutely.
Nin? Okay, good. And finally, and this means Elliot and Alicia get a preview of the last question I'll ask them.
Ooh.
Tell me something you love, preferably a comic, but we don't really have rules, that not enough people around you have experienced, and you need them to, so you have more people to talk about it with.
Ooh, that's a really good question. And I went to school for question asking.
Just
Yeah,
because I'm not a journalist doesn't mean I don't occasionally play one on a podcast.
I'm super proud of you. So
Never told me she was proud of me.
it's true.
Neither has my wife.
I have
Earn
journalist
it.
friends. I have lots of journalist friends. Spencer
Good.
Ackerman's been on this show twice.
He's a great journalist. So and Elliot knows this, so I will be fully transparent. I loved comics via my brother when I was a kid. So like
Okay.
when I was a kid, he's 10 years my senior, and so he would like come in and like read me comics, and that was like my bedtime story. So I didn't get to like read them, if that makes any sense. Like he would like
Yeah.
read them like storybooks,
hmm
if that makes any
hmm
sense. So I really just didn't. And to my husband's credit, he is a giant comic book person.
We
Like,
love
I mean,
movies.
I cannot tell you how many I have downstairs, y'all. It's not okay. It's unhinged. But, like,
Edgar bought a comic shop.
okay, like my husband
Oh
could
my
open
God.
one. It is called my living room. So my point is that
I understand.
You should see
I thought they were going
Edgar's
to
living
move to the
room.
shop. I thought that was the point, was that was going to repl I thought wrong. So
and and that's okay. We've all been misguided in our life, you know, and that was yours. And
that
it's
was
okay.
that was it. I
I
trusted, and
don't
then when
do drugs. I don't drink. I do comics. Come on.
It's okay. Everyone has their vice. Both as I've said, 2026 is the year of both things can be correct at the same time. Okay?
Absolutely.
DBT. It's just it's DBT right there.
Yes, it is.
2026 year of DBT.
Yes, that's what it is. Both things can be correct. So
More
honestly, like my husband got me back into comics. And I say back in, not that I was out, but in the sense of like seeing him read them and enjoy them really brought me joy. So I'm going to, it's probably not the right answer, but
There's
I'm
no
really
wrong answer. I mean,
but I'm
Andrew
really
Iden said
obsessed.
his tomato garden.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, good point.
There's not a wrong answer here. This I said there are no rules. You don't even have to do a comic. I love that you're doing a comic, but it
No, I want to strive. I'm an overachiever. Hi, I'm a journalist. So
yeah, I don't know
I
any overachieving journalists. Never met
I
any.
really love Coheed and Cambria. So I actually really love a lot of their graphic novels
Hmm.
and their comics, whatever derivation you want to call them. And so that would be my answer because I love Claudio and I love everything he does. And I just want to sit there and I want to like nerd out about how that guy's vocals doesn't match his face. And I just want to talk about that entire world he created because it's badass. And like I am just into it. So that is probably my answer.
Hmm.
There we go. I like it. No, they had graphic novels.
Oh my
So
golly.
so you managed to. Oh, I guess I knew their graphic novels. I just didn't realize. I
Wait, am
didn't
I
put it
alone?
together.
Did I just like outclass everyone on that?
No, no. I mean, yes, in
Comic
that
book shop. I have
I
two over here.
yeah. No,
Thank you.
no,
I could
no,
go
no.
downstairs and get you three.
No. I know like I looked up Coheed and Cambria and I immediately got the music, which I expected. And I went, so I had to add the graphic novels. I'm like, oh, Amory Wars. I had never connected the two,
They're so amazing because that's what I love about it is like speaking back to like
but
what
I
we were
do
talking
know
about,
the
like
comic.
a multi-sensory experience. Like I think it's like so amazing. Like his music to me like is a multi-sensory experience. Like where you get like you were talking about
Mhm.
earlier where like the silence you could hear the restaurant.
Right.
Same thing. Like I hear his music, I'm like, I'm picturing the world. I am in a spaceship. Like put me in coach. Like I hear it. Like it's so awesome. Um,
I love it.
that's my answer.
It's a great answer. I'm very impressed. Very
I'm just
impressed.
so excited that okay, thank you, Doctor. I don't know if your beautiful wife understood it too. But
Yeah.
thank you for knowing my reference.
I read every now and then. I can't help it. No,
Yeah, every so partially literate is what my husband always calls himself. I'm partially literate.
I would
And
say the same thing, partially.
It's
and
okay. Know
I
your strengths.
I read so much that sometimes you can tell me something that I read earlier today and it'll go over my head because though I will say you got me here. I knew Amory Wars, I knew Coyote and Cambria. I had never put them together. So thank you.
Okay, well then I'm just
That's a
here to
legit.
enhance your experience
You did.
before I go to small bed. So I'm just gonna go sleeps. But thank you for inviting me to this experience. And I'm sorry
Absolutely.
that I have to go to bed.
Yeah.
Hi, Blair.
I mean, half of our East Coast people don't even come to the psychocomicology book clubs because they're like 7 o'clock. That's 8 o'clock for me,
Yeah.
and I'm asleep already.
No, you're good. I have friends downstairs. They're all like drinking old fashions and having a blast. So I'm just gonna kick them out and say, it's
Go
been a
get the
nice night. Bye.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Blair.
No, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, y'all. And
Yeah.
keep talking to Elliot and Alicia because they're amazing humans and
Well,
you need to hear
and
from them more.
I'm certain we'll have you back because they said they're doing 8 more of these.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she stuck with us for the long term. That's why she's the editor-in-chief
I
at
know.
Columbia Comics for
And,
forever.
I'm telling you, you should read Shelley's book. You think it won't teach you anything, but it will.
I don't even think that it wouldn't. I love learning.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
All right. Bye, y'all.
See you, Blair.
Um,
And then there were 2.
well, 6 still, because like we came in force. Lee hasn't actually said anything all night, but you know.
But you know what?
Contributed earlier.
You know what? He
Had
looks
we
good.
even introduced
On
Lee?
the audio format.
I just want the audience to know
Oh,
he's
thank
a
you.
pretty guy, you know?
Appreciate that.
Everybody listening, know that Lee is a handsome individual.
All 3 audience members.
Smart as a rock.
That's right.
But very pretty. But very...
Well, no, actually, I think we have 4 now because Mom, Adam, John, and Britt are probably listening.
Right,
Sam said something, but she's still muted.
I don't want you to hear the iPad.
I gotta ask Elliot. So, and I want to make sure I word this correctly. So, what were your thoughts on having, when you were writing it psychologically, or if you were trying to write it psychologically, were you looking to write it psychologically, or were you looking just to be vulnerable? Like, what was the aspect that you were coming from? And that's the first part of the question. Second part of the question is would you have, or did you consult with a psychologist? Which leads to the third question. I am available, but go ahead.
First of all, we love a good plug. So I am not a mental health professional. I can't write from that perspective. So I actually wrote the story when I was in therapy as a way to understand what I was going through. So like all of what happened in issue 1 is my take on, it was me trying to understand my anxiety and understand, like I would just write out what was happening, how I was feeling, like what a panic attack feels like, what the anxiety feels like, him going from the scene where he comes back from the bathroom, like what are they talking about? That happened to me a lot of times. And how it would feel as a result, the handshaking, the tremors, the going, back to your house and you're alone, all of a sudden goes from, and if you guys pay attention to the lighting goes from very warm and colorful to very dark and more muted colors as we keep going. And it's that coming in and everything starts feeling more and more restricted. So that's what I was trying to just write and understand. So that's what I was trying to write out. And I feel like if I could write it down, I could understand it and I could try to analyze it from a third person perspective, as opposed to try to dissect it. Like, okay, this is what I'm feeling. Blah, 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 blah. Let me give it a name. Let me give it a person and have them go through this. And then what would I tell him if, to get through the situation?
Okay. What would you tell someone that's anxious, that is on the fence of looking at it, reading it, because they're anxious? It's like, oh, I don't want it to trigger me, or is it going to make me anxious to think about it? Like, what would you say to them?
I actually did have somebody say that they read the trigger warnings, like, I can't read this. And that's why we have the next page where it says, let this be a letter to all those suffering in silence. You're not alone and you are loved. And that was the first thing that I wrote before I wrote the story, was I wrote that line, because that was me wishing for a more hopeful future for myself and for others. And I feel like if I could write that and understand and really believe that, then I could get through to the next thing. So as far as like what I would tell someone who's anxious, first thing is that, again, you're not alone and that you are loved. And at Calamity Comics, like that's our tagline: you're not alone and you are loved. Because when you realize you're not the only one going through this, the world opens up a little more. And that my personal belief is that everything is better in the morning because the thoughts get really bad at night. Like with Jason, showers, it's nighttime. If you look at the clock, it's like 10:30. You're alone and everything just kind of comes into you. But if you give yourself the time to step back, get a good night's rest, things might be better in the morning. As far as the anxiety, everyone deals with it differently. I can't speak to your anxiety, to Sam's anxiety, to Lisi's anxiety, to Tad's anxiety. because everybody experiences anxiety in
Clearly,
different
because you just
ways.
said everything's better in the morning.
It can be, yeah, everything's better in the morning. I said personally,
No, no,
but
no.
then let me follow up on that.
Things are
Then there's
best from like midnight to 3 a.m. when everybody else is asleep and therefore can't be thinking about me. The problem is I'm a teacher now, so I'm asleep during those hours and I have to get up at like 5 and nothing is good at 5 a.m.
You know what, Elliot? You are not alone because everything's better in the morning, especially once I have my cups of coffee, then I'm good to go. Like,
yeah, like yeah, life's worth living.
Morning
Good to
time is coffee
go
time.
and good are very different things.
That's why I said personally, I'm not a clinician. I'm just a dude who had
That's
anxiety. But no, so the whole story came from just trying to understand what I was experiencing and give it some type of form that I could dissect and think from a third person perspective, hey, what would I tell someone else who's suffering? And what would that look like?
If I could ask, and you don't have to answer this. I don't want you to need to divulge what you don't want to divulge. I'm just going to ask the question and
Mhm.
do whatever you're comfortable with. Uh, so in what we do, and I'm speaking as Sam and Lee and myself, is that one of the skills that we offer, or one of the interventions that we tend to do, and it goes out to everybody listening, whoever listens, is that journaling, or schematic writing, or thematic writing, or art therapy is a very strong and pivotal intervention that we use in treating anxiety and in treating depression as well. So, if you'd be comfortable, was that something that was encouraged while you were in therapy? Was write down your thoughts, write down your feelings, and journal it, or draw it, or whatnot? Or is that something you came up with on your own? Like, how did that formulate?
That was my own doing. I've always written, whether I would write my feelings more in like a prose setting, or I'd write like letters to myself or to others and try to express what I'm feeling. But then as I was reading more and more comic books, I thought that this is a more elaborate way that I could get these thoughts out. So it wasn't really necessarily encouraged in therapy for me. It was more of just a byproduct of what I was working on in therapy.
Wow, so your therapist didn't use your own skill or strength to kind of highlight it. It was like your own thinking. You didn't bring it to therapy like, yeah, I'm writing and it's really helping me.
We did. Yes, we did. But that wasn't the big, it was keep, if it's helping you, keep doing it. But because I was dealing with just trying to get the anxiety from a 10 to like a 6. So at that point, the focus wasn't, hey, how's the writing going? Blah, blah, blah. It was, how can we get it from here to here? And then, hey, I'm able to write about it. And that's starting to bring it down a little more.
Gotcha. Last quick question, Matt, on the clinical side. Just obviously that's the
Oh,
part
feel free to deep dive. I'm an open book.
that has me intrigued. So, does the main character, and because we only read issue one, will the main character take medication?
We cannot talk about that at this time.
Okay. Will you send me pictures?
We cannot talk about that at this time.
Okay. That's a lawyer. That's a lawyer's
Yeah.
answer right there.
My legal team has advised me otherwise, and it's just me off to the side in a suit. I'm also the Calamity Comics legal team.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm intrigued now. I'm much more intrigued.
You should have
Okay.
spun around in the chair and just been like,
Well, let me talk to
No,
my
what you
lawyer.
needed to do was spin around in the chair, and while you did that, part your hair to the other side and put on a pair of glasses.
Clark Kent.
This is comic books.
Yeah, yeah. But my glasses are unfortunately non-existent because I don't wear glasses.
Well, then you can't be the legal team and the writer. That's not
That's what
allowed.
the suits are for. The suit gives a whole different aura.
All right.
Let me ask one more question.
You
No.
can ask as many as you want on the clinician side. I love answering these questions.
Well, this one is for Alicia because I
Oh,
want
Okay.
to include, and that my thought is actually directed to her, is that so I saw and felt the anxiety. So, I'm going to believe that was the goal of both of you, was to do it. But if you could paint a picture of what anxiety is without the use of words, without any scripted word, what would it have looked like? How would you have drawn it?
Describe it without words. Like,
Just draw it. How would you have drawn anxiety?
Like when you picture it in your head, what do you see?
Uh-oh, is that
I'm
Your brain.
thinking
I mean, I just want to say that I think the last panel on page 28.
Don't spoil it for that's what I was trying to see get to is which panel which panel would say was the one for you that was that you saw you it was anxiety for you.
Well,
anxiety
I
is just
just meant
more
with no
like,
words.
yeah, with no words, what does like a painting of anxiety look like? You would,
We lost Sam.
well, I think it would be like a very blinding white light.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, because there's like anxiety is like it feels to me like the complete opposite of how depression feels because depression, I mean, you can't feel anything and you're slowly like falling towards the pit of death. But like anxiety, you feel all of these overpowering emotions that you cannot hide from. It's like just standing in front of headlights and those headlights will just follow you everywhere you go.
Wow. I know I think that's beautifully said. I it's funny because it's a white light. It's so overwhelming, and that is anxiety. It's so overwhelming. Like you're it's I don't agree with the depression. I think depression you're so overly hurt, you feel everything too much, and that's why you're in such pain. But I agree with the anxiety, that white light, like I can feel that. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, even sitting here thinking about it,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, my own experience. Yeah, but
Yeah.
bright white light, huh?
Yeah.
That means a lot coming from a room full of doctors.
That's
Oh, Lee's not a doctor.
Thank you, Ted.
you just shut him down.
You're a
Yeah.
doctor by association at this point.
No, man,
I'll take that.
that's good. Okay.
A doctor of life, as it were.
You know,
So
can I just back up and answer Tad way in the beginning? You kind of wanted to know how Elliot and I met.
Yeah.
We met at C2E2
Okay.
and it was a
Okay.
yeah, it was a panel. It was kind of like a speed dating panel where writers met artists and vice
Okay.
versa. You sat down for 7 minutes and just talked about what kind of stuff you wanted to do. And Elliot came like the least prepared, but the most prepared because he kind of knew exactly like what he wanted to accomplish, even if like neither of us showed up totally prepared. This is our very first comic, so not a whole lot in the chamber. But I remember I went through many different writers who wanted to tell like entertaining stories and like fantasies and stuff. Nothing wrong with that, but I don't derive a whole lot of pleasure from just zoning out and passively receiving stories from like movies and things like that. Least of all comics. Like I really want to learn, I really want to feel. So when Elliot told me about his project, his script, like I thought what was unique about him is he's the only writer in the room who wrote about himself using fiction. I was interested in working on something like nonfiction or historical, but he really convinced me when he talked about mental health kind of thing because and like I just like volunteered right away. I was like, I've been to therapy and I had PTSD for years and years and it like stole a lot of time from my life and I decided like I don't want to be depressed. I don't want PTSD. I went to therapy and I'm better now and I want to help people feel that way too. And he's like, that's what I'm trying to do. So even without the experience behind us, we shared what was important, like the experiences and how we wanted to impact readers. And so that's kind of how that's the sort of the reason why we work well together behind the scenes is because we have a whole lot of understanding. Even if maybe not all the pieces are here yet, they will be. And I think it does show up in the pages. Like the artwork works in tandem with the writing too, because we're both people who like have been there.
it definitely shows. It definitely shows. I felt it definitely, both in word and in art. It shows that you guys feel what you're saying and trying to demonstrate, and I think that's the beauty of it. You're not trying to sell a product. You're trying to share an idea and a feeling, and I think that's what's beautiful about it.
Yeah. I I had a question for you guys, but I don't know how to like I don't-
Spanish, English, French, or Polish? You pick.
English preferably.
yeah, okay, I can
Where'd
do
that
that.
voice come from?
It's me.
Your conscience.
I don't know, like when you brought up the trigger warning in the beginning of the comic, I would hate to like I'd hate to be like Procter and Gamble putting something out there that could like harm somebody just to have it out there in the world. But I don't really think that that will happen. Um, because what one thing that I think it offers is transference. Instead of feeling those anxious feelings inside kind of thing, reading a really sometimes violent or sometimes upsetting story or comic book, it's like you're holding that pain in your hands instead in like this little comic book kind of thing. Is that
So when you first said transference or transference, I'm like, wait, are we talking Freudian type of transference? What kind of, then I'm like, oh, okay, it's kind of like sublimating. You're like, so the nerd in me was starting to get clinical. I'm like, wait, what are we talking about? Uh, so I, and I don't know, I don't want to answer for everybody, but so how do I say this? And so I don't really, I'm not a big fan of like needing to have to put a trigger warning because I think you don't need to put any limitation on any book because I think that's the beauty of books is that I'm not a big proponent for banned books. It's like you have the choice to read it. It's your choice. You choose what you want to read. I think it's great that if you so choose to do that, like that's great because you want to make sure like everyone's prepped for it. So I think that's good. In terms of the actual process of when you're reading something that can affect or cause one to emote, whether aggressively, emotionally, whatever the case is. Yeah, I think where we're heading is that can it be cathartic? Is there a cathartic experience when you read something like that? Absolutely, because some of us are, and not to get too clinical, when we're overly restrained or well tight, sometimes being able to see it in writing or in art is that it lets us out, it lets it out for us in a fashion. So yes, it can be extremely cathartic, in that fashion. And two, it's an escape. And I always tell everybody like my thing is that reading comics was always an escape for me. So when I see anything on things that remind me of my past or remind me of my problems or dilemmas, it's a beautiful thing to be able to see it, feel it tangibly or and mentally, emotionally, because it lets it out for me. So yeah, so I think that's probably the best way I can. I don't know if that answers what you were saying, asking.
yeah.
So the when I read the trigger warning, because like reading comics that do talk about like mental health issues or somebody's, what they have gone through, right? Because there's a number of different comics that talk about trauma, that talk about, substance abuse, that talk about, child abuse. Like there's a lot of comics that do that and graphic novels, and they don't have the trigger warnings in front of it. So reading this comic, seeing the trigger warning, like I guess for me, it made it triggered like this thought that like, oh, this is serious. Which was like, because it's like a disclaimer. And it's like, you get a disclaimer before something serious, like you're about to do something serious. Like I have to sign a waiver before I go to a trampoline park, right? Like this was like the disclaimer before reading this. And it was like, okay, not that it gives it more credit than other works that talk about mental health issues, but it was like a sense of like, okay, like I'm going to feel something reading this, like because it is real.
Would you say it almost kind of like sets the tone in a way?
Yes, because it felt more serious than just jumping into a novel or a comic that talks about these issues, that talks about a character going through something. It just made it feel like more like, okay, I have to take this seriously. This is a real thing.
What's funny is that because now I'm laying out our personal stuff.
Don't do that.
I'm gonna air out our stuff now. So it's cool because it does show our personalities and how we approach or how we broach mental health or treatment, but also our own lives. Is that So my wife is the type who, I love very much, is the type when we're watching a movie, uh, she's on her phone looking at the ending and reading the ending and looking at what's going on.
No.
And I'm sitting there like, motherfucker, like, just watch the movie.
Enjoy the
Wait
movie.
for the surprise, like the twist is what catches you. She's like, no, I don't want to see the twist. So it totally makes sense that you want to see the trigger warning, like you're prepared for it. And I'm opposite. It's like I didn't want to see the trigger warning because I wanted you to like, oh shit, this guy is like I wanted that like I wanted to get that boom, that wham feeling. So it's funny. I mean, it's good either way, but it's funny how it's the different personalities and different perspectives of how we see that. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see that. Yeah, neither here or there. It's just interesting. Lee,
And
where's
see,
your middle ground?
my whole issue with the trigger warning is the wording.
Like the word warning?
No, the way the warning is worded. I think rather than saying it contains content that may trigger, I would just say this book contains depictions of blank. Reader discretion advised. And then if you're gonna tell people to consider seeking support, you should throw in a hotline.
So the reason we've gone back and forth on the hotline, the reason I didn't include it is because I had very negative experiences with hotlines. So I didn't want to um, put that out there for people. So that's why it's consider
That's
seeking
fair.
if needed, because you don't want to say, hey, this is the only way that you can get support and help. There are many other avenues. Some people might do hotlines, some people might go to therapy, some people might talk to a loved one. There's a lot of different ways. So I didn't want to pigeonhole somebody saying this is the only way that you can get help.
That's excellently said. Yeah, not everybody goes to a therapist or a hotline. Some people go to a pastor, or a church, or ethnically. Yeah, beautifully said. Yeah, I like that answer. Damn, you are a lawyer.
And I love that answer, but I would add to it then one of the most difficult people who or things for people who are seeking support is figuring out how.
Hmm.
So if it's not a hotline,
My card in the comic
then
will include my card in every comic.
There we go.
I mean,
That's how
sure,
we.
but
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it as a hotline, a professional therapist, just that little thing that makes it more than considering support. And hey, support is more available than you realize it is because here are ways to get a support. Does that
Right.
make sense?
It does. But also, if you read the book to the end,
No,
maybe.
it, but in that case, I say drop the line entirely.
It's foreshadowing.
Rather than consider seeking support if needed, just don't have that as part of the warning up front. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think we originally had that part out, and then I don't remember if Blair said to put that in or somebody said to put that in. I honestly don't remember. I just wrote the first part.
And again, I wouldn't have said anything, but we were talking so much about the warning. I'm like, okay, if we're going to talk this much about the warning, I have to
Let's get into it.
I
No,
have to
everything's
jump
intentional
in
here.
because I did have issues with the warning. They were just nitpicky autistic ones.
And we love nitpicky things.
So as I sort of reflect and hear like everybody's sort of input here, my first initial thought is I'm not a big fan of trigger warnings, just period. Like me, I'm a little bit more competitive. I'm like, okay, well, let's see how good this is then. But going back to Alicia's real question, as like that sort of transference of the reader putting it into the comic rather than themselves. And I think that's a powerful sort of question. So then my only sort of feedback I would even have, if I have any sort of critique at all, is you're not alone and you are loved, and the trigger warning, switch them.
Mhm.
Have the you are loved and you're not alone first. That way, in my head as a reader, it's like I'm putting that into literally my hands,
Yeah.
and I think that's where you're getting at is that anxiety, whatever that we're depicting here. I'm literally holding that in my hands, and I have a sort of sense of hope.
Mm-hmm.
Because even Elliot, as you mentioned, the person that read the trigger warning first and said, "Oh, I don't want to read it." Well, son of a bitch, the glimmer of hope was the next page. It's just like, okay, But I think that could be something that you would lean more into to say, hey, like this is what we're talking about, and you can do it.
Yeah, see, I once I see you're not alone, I'd be like, well, I fucking am. But that's the like maybe that's the ban for me. It's like,
Hmm.
how are you gonna tell me I'm not alone? I am. Do you see, like, there's that rebel. That's why I said the perspectives are so interesting because it's like, if you're depressed or anxious, you are alone. Like, you are. That's what you feel, and you are what you feel. So, like,
But now this is where as clinicians, and we're getting this sort of debate here, is like, there's a difference between feeling alone and being alone.
mhm. But they didn't
Ooh.
distinguish that. They just said you are alone.
Hmm.
So you're if you overanalyze, you're going too deeper than just it says you are alone. It doesn't ask you feel alone.
I think you're overanalyzing
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, that's
Okay,
why I said
Sam, thoughts?
it's just straightforward.
I think you're overanalyzing it.
Well,
No,
we're fucking
I
clinicians. Look, if Elliot can be litigious and judicious in what he's saying, then we could be fucking analytical, all right?
Yeah.
but you are not getting paid to be analytical reading
Well,
this
I'm doing
sentence.
it for
So
free.
take it.
This is free. No,
No, actually,
I'm gonna
he
get in trouble now,
pays me.
Elliot. Because of you, I'm gonna go home and get in trouble now. No, that
Okay.
was Alicia who brought this up. Because of you,
So,
I'm gonna go
so
home and get in
I,
trouble now.
I have one more process question because I've only read it digitally,
Mhm.
but I'm realizing I kind of internally do page turns and spreads even when I'm only seeing one page.
Mhm.
So I have the quick question for both Elliot in writing and Alicia in drawing. Were you considering your page turns and spreads, Alicia, when you were drawing? I mean, I'm assuming you work digitally. This looks like you work digitally. If I'm wrong, I apologize.
Uh, your question was, do I
Did you have it set up where you saw your pages side by side as you were drawing them, or were you doing the individual page?
I have yet to do like a two-page spread, I think. I work just page to page.
Okay.
But do you mean like, for example, the like shower scene from the one where it's all the voices and then the next one where it's just no dialogue, like was that considered in the like physical version, you mean? Or
Well, I mean, I think like 28. So those are going to be side by side pages, I think.
no. I mean, I did read the physical
Okay.
one back at the office because we got those in now. Um, I don't know how it looks on your what page you're looking at, but if I'm looking at PDF digital reader version 19 and 20, if we're looking at the one with voices are all around him, then the next one with the shower with like where he's like this, where you said that should have been the last one. It actually goes from the two shower scenes and like where he's panicking. Next page, dead silent panel. Where just the
Oh
shower.
yeah, no. Uh yeah, no, the dead silent page is page 20, which means it's going to be a left-hand side.
Correct.
But what I mean is the in the shower, like it it's going to be a two-page spread of the shower page that we talked a ton about and the shower page that's equally good that we didn't talk about
Mhm.
are you're going to see them at the same time.
Yes.
Um, and that actually isn't the one that I was most like I wonder I mean I know Sam loves and I love the empty apartment page, but I wonder if it's going to feel the same when it's sharing space with the outside.
Um, let me see.
I get what you mean, Ted. I think like
Yeah.
if I could possibly like do that again, I think it would be a lot it would be a lot easier on me to draw the inside of an apartment in a landscape
Yeah,
Um,
honestly, I think that page would have worked better as a full page. I mean, as much as I think that there's an argument for cutting it as a one page, I think that if you'd made it 2 pages, it would have been the argument for keeping it there.
it was definitely kind of hard trying to fit like the, I'm just like not that versed in art, or at least I wasn't at the
Right.
time. So I was kind of putting it together as I went, and I didn't really know that. Like I said,
And that could have been on
perspective.
me. That could have been on me for writing it in the script as a one page as opposed to a 2 page. But
Right. Well, and again, like one of the things that, and this is, I mean, this is your first comic, so and it's the type of stuff that really only nerds like me really glom onto,
oh, this is what we
unless it's
love.
done incredibly well, right? It's hard to kill your book by not doing this. It's just one of those things that when you do it well, it just elevates things. Um, like as much as we think of reading comics panel by panel, we essentially take in the 2 page spread and then
Mhm.
start reading panel by panel. So, what those 2 pages together look like matters a lot. So, if you've got dark on one side and light on the other, it's going to stand out as soon as you look at the page.
Right. But I mean, if we're looking at the 14 to 15, then it is that transition from out and then
Right.
in
But
and then
But what I'm saying is, in some ways, and this is one of the things that until I see it physically, I can't say. I almost wonder if that would be a better page flip translation.
maybe, maybe not. I mean, I'm trying to look at
Right.
but if you come to modern age comics on the 28th, you can find out for yourself.
Bring your friends.
Spread the word, tell your friends. Modern age comics, Algonquin,
But
Illinois.
but yeah, no, that I realized is one of the things that
That was beautiful, by the way.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
that's one of the things that I realized. Like I've been thinking of, I mean, another sign that it's a good book and with a lot there is that I've been thinking about it since I read it. Um, and thinking about what worked and thinking about, okay, what were the actual things that made me not immediately trying to phrase this properly because I like it more having talked about it and gone through it now. But I didn't love it the first time I read it. I saw potential um and I think the fact that I could feel that it was done page by page. And again, Alicia, it's your first comic. This is not like, oh my God, how did you not know how to do that? Because I know professionals that don't do that very often because it's hard to do that. You either need bigger Bristol boards or you need a big enough screen iPad to really be able to do it, or it.
Tad,
But
until you brought it up like 30 seconds ago, that never occurred to me to do that. I'll find a way, like with the size of my Bristol board, and I mean I have two monitors. I can
yeah,
I'll find a way because
To,
you told me
to give a
that it
little bit
well,
works.
of
and
For
like
those
I
of us
know a
that
lot
don't
of
know,
them.
wait, hold up. For those that don't know, what the heck is a Bristol board?
Yeah.
Oh, you called me.
Immediately, I
You,
like, oh, do you know? I don't
I
know.
gotta Google it. I don't know.
I'm
damn
actually
it.
Googling it right here.
Elliot, do you know what a Bristol board is?
No, I was Googling it.
Oh, I'm like, what the fuck is a goddamn Bristol board?
Okay, Edgar, when you buy an original piece of comic book art,
Huh?
that's normally what it's drawn on.
Ah, okay.
But also to give a little bit of for what you said earlier, Ted. So Alicia does work digitally, but every single page starts on pencil. Like she pencils
Yeah.
out everything, inks it physically, and then scans it in, and then does the rest digitally.
Okay, so you're
there
doing
is
it. You're doing your pencils.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you working on? I mean, I'm by no means the pro. I don't have any of my art pros with me, but I've picked up a little over the last 4 years.
I've had the same collection of like art supplies since I was a teenager, and so it's just like it's just a bunch of pencils from like H to B. If you know, you know.
No, I meant are you using one? I can't. I have one downstairs. A friend of mine just sent me a piece of original art. Are you
Hmm?
using the comic page? Um,
I just upgraded to something much larger and I
Okay.
got one of those like elevated desk board deals. So I'm not
Okay.
drawing flat on the table and it feels more ergonomic and everything. Yep, starting
Yeah.
with pencils, old ass pencils and
Yeah, I know a lot of people when they're doing their thumbs tend to, and that's the other. I mean, what's your really quick? Just because we didn't get deep into this before. What's your process? You got to go in 5 minutes. What, Edgar? You don't have to go. You're in your own shop. They don't throw you out.
It's an hour away.
You haven't set up a cot yet.
I want to see my wife and kids at some level before I go to bed.
They'll come visit tomorrow. The in-laws are down the road.
I don't like my in-laws. I like my wife and kids.
You don't have to go visit the in-laws.
Or just going to change from Dr. Edgar Ramos to Lee.
Yeah.
So,
It can be
so
everything.
uh, what's your process both individually and collaboratively? Uh, essentially, how many times are you drawing it? Are you starting with penciled layouts? Are you starting with thumbnails?
here's what like I'm doing right now. Because at the time we started, didn't know what I was doing, but this
Right,
is what I'm going to do from now on. Is after I get his script, I'm going to thumbnail each and every page, and I do it very quickly, usually just with one pen and a marker. Um, they're not fancy at all. We just kind of agree on camera angles and like
right,
this is what's in this shot.
hmm
And then once those are approved, then I move on to pencil sketching. So I just take
right.
each of those thumbnails and translate it into a sketch in pencil, show it to Elliot. He okays the sketch, the yeah, pencil sketch. And then I move on to ink. And right
And if
now,
he's not okaying the inks, he'd better be paying you a lot.
I'm a dick at that point.
well, then I will just write a little note next to it so that when I scan it and upload it to Photoshop, I have a little note. It says, make this arm longer. Why is it so short? Then I just
So
make
you're
it,
physically inking and then just coloring in Photoshop, or
yes.
okay,
I'm not really a great pencil artist. I'm really great with inks. And in fact, that's what I wanted to do when I went into comics. I was talking to writers and I was like, yeah, I can be your inker. Because I know it's like a collaborative process. So I
hmm
was like, yeah, let me be the ink guy. Well,
Have you met Anthony Fowler?
no.
Make a point if you go to C2E2 this year. Make a point of going to his booth. That's what he does, and he's
Maybe
local
I
too.
have. Wait a second. What has he worked on?
He's done some stuff at DC. He's done a fair amount of
Was he at DC?
independent stuff.
Did he do Hush?
I don't think so.
Hmm.
He he
Fowler
he-
actually sounds
he's
familiar.
he's not that level.
Okie doke.
He's still a young guy. Hopefully someday he'll do that sort of thing. But
Neato.
I know he did most of the inking on um the milestone. Oh, he did New Gods 11, DC Power.
That sounds
Uh,
familiar.
yeah, he did most of the inking on Milestone Initiative
Yeah,
and the
I'd love to
30th
look at his
anniversary
stuff.
special. Um, he did an issue of Batman versus Bigby, and a couple issues of Batman versus Bigby, it looks like. But yeah, he's a good guy, and he's at C2E2 every year. He's already among the listed guests, but he's one of the few younger people I know who's actually an inker.
Mhm.
Because it's one of the jobs that's kind of started to drift away with digital because
The
so many
temptation
people,
is there to just skip that step, which
yeah, so
in
so many people will scan their pencils and then do their inking digitally.
You gotta ink it physically. It's a whole
for two
process.
for two reasons. Because on page 5 of YNK, that is one that I scanned the pencil sketches, and I should just say like, although it's a great page and everything, it doesn't compare to the other ones where I did ink. There's just
Right.
something more like lifelike about it when you ink and everything. And that's kind of where like I cut my teeth and everything. So yeah, I
Right.
just know not to do that again. The temptation's there because it's so much simpler to do
Hey,
on.
one of my favorite artists, because the other thing, if you wind up having a career in this, you're going to discover that you make as much or more money on selling your original art as you do um, from getting paid to make the comics.
Hmm.
One of my favorite artists does the loosest pencils imaginable, scans them and does everything else from there, but then goes, "Ooh, this page will sell," and goes back and tightens the pencils. This page will sell and goes back and tightens the pencils. Um,
Oh,
but
it's diabolical. Pretty good.
yeah, but yeah, when you're thumbnailing, the non-artist me would recommend thumbnailing the two pages together just so you see how the flow between them works.
You do that though, Alicia.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, because she scans over the thumbnail, she puts them side by side as if it were in the comic format, like the physical
Right,
format.
but I meant even when she's drawing them, make a two-page box and lay it out.
Yeah, can do.
Because then you really see how the line, because sometimes it can be jarring when even the panels don't line up, if they line up weird. And this also, like, it can be fixed in printing, because if you make the gutters wider, that then the pages are more separate and you don't connect them. But like, this is where
Mhm.
we get into the book design, and that
Details.
wasn't where I meant to go right now.
This is a fun chapter that like I'm embarking on.
If we're talking about the panel layouts, like looking jarring, the first thing I said to Alicia when we were talking about design is I don't want the stereotypical box panels. Like I want it to be
Oh,
living. I want it
absolutely.
to be dynamic. And that's
Yeah.
where her panel, like obviously her art's amazing, but the effort she puts into panel design and layout is what makes the comic, in my opinion.
Sweet.
Yeah, yeah. So because Dr. Ramos needs to leave soon, I want, and because it turns out you guys are ridiculously young, or at least Elliot is.
I'm younger than
But
him.
that was my guess.
Okay.
I've only seen your picture in the comic, but like I had Elliot in his 30s and he's not, and I was assuming that you were younger than him. So
Thank you.
yeah. What?
I thought you were talking to me.
Oh, Edgar, you are young.
Thank you. Thank
Well, I mean, Sam certainly feels like it when she's got to take care of three kids every day.
you. I'm not even going to acknowledge that statement right now.
Staying out of
No,
that
but it
one.
looked like Sam was going to. I saw the mute go
She
off.
chose to let you live, is what she did.
I'm still getting in trouble when I get home.
Well, I felt it from here.
So I imagine that this will be abbreviated anyway, but it's one of my favorite questions to ask. Give me your comics biography. Clearly not a bibliography because we've already gone over it. Your biography. What do you first remember reading that made you like comics? What made you start going, maybe I'd like to make comics? What made you go, oh, I want to make comics like that? That sort of thing. Give me titles, give me dates. Not necessarily. I mean, if you remember, I bought my first comic on June 2nd. Sure, go for it. But and titles and like what are the comics that mean something to you?
I think when I was younger, my uncle would always bring me
You were
not necessarily
younger.
comics, but he'd bring me like The Adventures of Bat
I
Boy.
didn't know they let high schoolers be lawyers, but
It's really fun when I walk into a courtroom and they're like, "Are you licensed?" "Yes, Judge, I am in multiple states. Thank you." Do you ever need a lawyer in Chicago, Indiana, or Florida? Mondry, Mondry.
I mean, let's be real. Anybody can be licensed in Florida.
They have one of the harder bar exams, I will say. Like they really gatekeep.
They definitely have one of the more expensive bar exams, the way I've heard it.
They're all expensive. That's another podcast for a different day.
See, I was making a different illusion.
No, when I was younger, though, my uncle would have me read like The Adventures of the Bat Boy, and I remember that
Now,
can be my first. like, oh, what is this? This is different. This isn't just news and like strips of stuff. This is like fun. So that's my probably earlier memory of comics, and then obviously like old issues of Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man that my dad would give me. But I think what really changed for me when I got older, there were probably three comics that I will mention that changed my perspective on comics. One was a comic called Anarchy Dreamers by one of our variant artists, Emily Ree. And that was when I really first saw for the first time somebody taking trauma and putting that into comic book form, because I'd never seen someone do that before. And their story was about these kids who, a high school kid who their friend die, and then what would happen if they come back. And that concept really struck a chord with me and made me start thinking about, you can write yourself into a story in this way. And then the book that really made me want to and inspired to write comics was Ted Sakura, his whole cinematic universe of Hero Tomorrow comics, Tap Dance Killer, Punchline, Apama, Bloom, just this collected story of people that wasn't just like the Marvel DC, like an indie creator making their own cinematic universe of comic book and interconnecting storylines, and the way that the both stories were written, the paneling, the pacing, everything was clicking with me, and I'm like, this is what comics can be and what I want to do with it. And then the third comic that like, I want to mention because I think it's important for the audience we have here is Warhead by my good friend Cash Kunstman, who's the owner of Biolumin Press, took their experience with anxiety and put it into this 3-volume series that made me realize that I want to create stories about mental health and that I'm proud to be in this area of comic books. So I'd say that's my big three, and then Batboy.
Nice.
Lovely. Same question?
Yep.
Different answer.
Yeah, different answer. Oh. So I've always been a DC kid, since a very, very young age. Before it was like even that appropriate, my mom like happened upon two trades of Teen Titans. And
Okay.
the show, the 2003 cartoon series is really big with kids in my age demographic. We don't have to go into that. It was
Yeah,
like
I'm beginning to think that you're younger than my kids.
anyway,
I know that you're younger than at least one of Edgar's kids.
Why you throw? How did this happen?
Just catch a stray.
Like, quietly, I'm attentive. I'm listening, and
well, I'm being read to filth over here. I'm just trying to
whereas you're probably peers of Lee. So like,
first of all, I saw the Teen Titans, and I thought the writing was amazing on the Teen Titans. And with the Teen Titans Go, that changed, but the original Teen Titans series was fabulous, and people they sleep on how well that show is written, how intellectually well that show is written.
People also
Oh,
don't.
yes.
People also forget how amazing that version of Robin was. Oh my God, the
Gosh.
animal.
The one where he has PTSD and it's
Oh,
Yep,
what's his name? Deathstroke. And it's just like,
yeah.
Is he seeing him? And then you find out that like I actually don't want to put any spoilers, but like the PTSD aspect of it, and his friends are trying to help him and they're just like, it's okay, like you can let go, but like he can't let it go because he keeps hearing them and he keeps seeing them, and it's just like,
Oh,
who wrote that? Like that's amazing.
my God, and the heartbreak where like
Oh.
Starfire has to essentially like fight him just to calm him down.
Yes.
That changed something in me.
Rooney.
Talk.
I think we all might be the
Do a
same
whole
age.
thing
That's
just
fine.
on the Teen Titans that watch it like that. It was, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, so naturally, that's why I never stopped reading Teen Titans. Like I have the like Jeff Johns series, that was like 100 issues. And ever since then, like I pick up on the other proteges. Like I haven't really liked Justice League all that much, but I will read the hell out of Nightwing, Tom Taylor, and
Me too.
How about Tom King's Nightwing? Grayson.
Grayson.
mm,
So So you're like the 80s George Perez Nightwing, with
No,
the
she just said Tom Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Tom Taylor and
I did love the scroll issue that I actually had to I sent my wife screenshots of every page so that she could print it up on her high res printer at school and make it into a scroll for me so I could just read it
wow.
across.
That's a fan.
Yeah.
And then oh my gosh,
Well, if they're going to go to the trouble to make an issue that's all one panel, I
mhm.
want to read it as one panel.
Yeah. Oh, and what is his name? From Howling Pages, our good friend.
Oh, the owner?
Oh, are we talking about the guy who worked Declan? Tim
Not Declan.
Seeley, Tim Seeley, Jim
Tim,
Terry?
Tim Seeley, who
Tim Seeley.
yeah, he was also one of the artists on one of the best like one of my favorite Nightwing series. Neither here nor there, but um the one that
Didn't he
really got
write it during Rebirth?
yes,
Seeley?
Rebirth and the really controversial Nightwing gets shot by KG Beast
Right.
arc. Anyway, and I have to say
Well,
my
that was
two
for his buddy Tom King that he'd done Grayson with.
oh, okay, doke. I wasn't putting them together. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. He actually got shot in Tom's Batman book.
Yep.
Yeah.
Comic nerd here. See?
This it's okay. This is exactly what you expect to hear in a comic shop kind of deal. It's like actually.
I
Um,
wasn't trying to say actually, because I don't know if he also did the scene in his book. I know that I read it in Tom's book.
I think it may have been crossed over because the
That would be the way that you should do it.
mhm,
Um,
makes sense. And the two comics that I think made me want to get into comics more is Mouse. I read when I was also very young, and
I met
that's
Art Spiegelman last year.
wow.
Please ask.
Oh,
Is that a manga? Just kidding. I'm sorry. It's an inside joke. Sorry. Go ahead.
I would love to meet him too. You got to tell me more about that.
He was at CXC last year.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, that really inspired me to do a couple of things like learn more about history, and it's really difficult reading history books, so condensing them into personal first-person accounts in comic books was something that like anybody can grasp, even if you're very young or very old. It's like we all read the exact same story, and it really some pages really stick with you forever.
Right.
And then right around that same time I read Watchmen too, and that was very groundbreaking for me because I was like, okay, so you can tell of history, you can tell of personal history, you can do it in you can do it in multi plots, you could do it all these different plots and everything in a masterful way, and it challenges you to read like 9 panels on a page. But you know what? Like, we'll never forget how I cried when I finished it. So I was like, yeah, comics are great. They're for me. I'm gonna do this.
All righty. Well, you guys both already know the closing question. Tell me something you love, preferably comics, but we don't have rules. Preferably storytelling, but again with the rules. But something that you love that not enough people around you have experienced and you would like them to, so that you have more people to talk about it with.
Lucy, do you want to go first?
Yeah, mine's like it sounds mean. It's education. Like not enough people. Just kidding. No, I just love I love
Nerd.
learning. I do. I mean, I love to learn. I don't, it's
See, in
difficult for
here
me
I
to
thought you
just,
meant the novel, which was also pretty good.
oh, no. I mean, I like to just, I do not like to just sit back and relax and passively receive entertainment all day long. It's so boring. So I really need to be challenged and look at art and like pick it apart kind of thing. So yeah, I would love to chat about that with other
What's
people.
what's your most recent deep dive?
I don't think I have one. That's I would say I love it because I want to do it.
You haven't fallen down a rabbit hole recently?
Oh, yeah, I did.
There you go.
I mean, I should really freshen it up between podcasts, but I'm still on ants.
Okay. There's some cool things
Those
to
ants.
unpack about ants. I
Like
Elliot?
the
can go with
bug,
that.
like the bug ants.
Yes.
They're talking
They're
about
my
the movie ants.
No, no, I saw where she was going.
See, I already
I
met
mean,
Zach Tyler Eisen. We just talked about Avatar the whole time, but
I
no,
mean,
I mean Hymenoptera, you know.
I don't know enough about ants, but when you say something like that, it reminds me of, and unfortunately, I think this podcast is no more, but there used to be a podcast called Surprisingly Awesome.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm pretty certain you can still like download the episodes, but like each
How
of
was
them
it?
was a what?
How was it?
It was
Go
amazing because each episode was about something that like nobody would think that there was an episode on concrete, there was an episode on broccoli, there was an
Hmm.
episode on free throws.
Hmm.
I mean, that they would take things and spend an hour on them and make them surprisingly awesome, hence the name of the podcast.
Wow.
um it was Adam McKay who
Oh.
does a bunch of movies, did The Big Short. I'm looking it up now. Elliot can answer the question while I'm looking for the podcast.
I'm so glad my important thing is going to be in the background of your research.
No, because I already found it. I just had to
Fair,
Google the word surprisingly awesome. It's not that hard. Adam
fair.
Davidson and Adam McKay.
I would say I've there's an anime which I've forced Alicia to watch. It's a
Hmm.
movie called Makia When the Promised Flower Blooms. And to me, it's one of the most important things I've ever watched, absorbed, and just learned from because it tells a story of a girl who can't age who finds a human boy. And you know how it's going to end. From the very beginning, you know how the story is going to end. But I remember watching it for the first time, and I was in theaters and I was by myself. And I cried so hard that I had to wait 10 minutes until after the credits rolled to calm down and then put sunglasses on when I walked outside so people didn't think I was smoking in the theater. And not only from a perspective of art, it's beautiful. The story is one of the most beautifully written stories I've ever seen in my life. It interconnects two storylines perfectly. It builds the emotional relationships perfectly. It builds the relationship with the characters perfectly. And it does so many things right that it makes me mad that I will never write something that good. And I think that's something amazing and beautiful to me that I wish more people could experience that movie for that reason.
Ooh.
Just went on my list.
I'm gonna look into that.
Just went on my list.
Makia, When the Promised Flower Blooms, Crunchyroll. Um, I will say I have seen it dubbed and sub. There's always the argument of dub versus sub. There's a very specific reason why everybody should watch it dubbed as opposed to subbed, and I will die on that hill. And has to do with the way the line translation and the ending. And that is all I will say on that.
So dubbed then?
Dubbed.
Yeah,
Unless you can speak the language.
sure.
And it doesn't even look like it was based on a manga. And I didn't think there were any good anime that didn't have a comic first.
Nope, it's just its own thing.
I suppose that's allowed.
Wasn't it based on Carmilla?
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I'm
I just know it was the same director who did um Anohana, the flower we saw that day.
yeah, so if I recall, I think there's also because it's kind of we'll talk later about it. Okay, yeah. It is really
Cool.
I mean, Elisa, I mean, I forced you to watch it, so
Hey, I remember it.
I'm not even going to say anything about that.
That's an overwhelming recommendation. I remembered it.
Remember it. You're also not an anime person, so
Not an anime person. I watched it, but
I agree.
I am a much bigger manga person than anime person, which is why that was my first search is okay, where's the manga what do you mean it's the one of the few?
one of the
I thought
few.
only Ghibli movies weren't manga first.
Because Ghibli gets so much attention, and rightfully so, but this is one of those to me, it's a sleeper movie that nobody talks about, that nobody's really seen.
No, it looks good to me. Again, like I said, I thought only Ghibli movies were not manga first, because those are original. He got out of manga when he started making movies. His manga is pretty good. Edgar's trying to say goodbye because he wants to go see Sam.
My computer's dying and I gotta go.
All right. Well, I will say for the folks at Calamity Comics, Elliott Mondry and Alicia Madden, this has been 22 panels. The book is You Never Know. They will be at Modern Age Comics in Algonquin. Somebody want to give me the address?
2214 East Algonquin Road, Algonquin, Illinois, January 28th, 5 to 7. Come on by, signing, pictures. We may even have snacks and refreshments.
I'm going to hold you to that, Edgar. If I show up and there's not pizza.
Oh, I'm sorry, just for the artist and writer.
thanks,
All right.
guys.
We will see you after the next page.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.